Okay, Quinn here. I'm going to record a dream that I had last night because I'm just finding it significant and I want to go back and make sure I check all the meanings. Um, I dreamt that I was working at an old job, but I was rich enough to not give a fuck and I was just working there to be working there. Um, and that the people that I worked with were afraid that I was going to take their jobs. And a friend had gotten this job for me. And there was a board meeting that was being held to pretty much terminate my position. And the owner of the company, I mean, he was afraid of me taking over, being some sort of risk or what have you. He was trying to force me to stay in this meeting, but something had happened where I had tried to get up or something and my stomach was cut open. I was bleeding. And I was like, I'm glad that you're wanting to have this meeting, whatever it is. You're trying to fire me. I don't care. I'm bleeding. We need to call 911, get me to a doctor. This situation can wait. Um, and I was in the dream trying to get tissues, paper towels, whatever to stop the bleeding. The team wanted to carry on the meeting. And I remember my aunt was in the room. One of my aunts was in the room and she worked for this company too. And they were like, yeah, we need to fire you. This is what this is about. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm bleeding right now. And I remember picking up the phone, trying to call 911. And somebody else was listening on the line and interrupted the phone call to stop me from reaching out. And so I kept trying different phones, trying to call 911 to get assistance. And I remember that the owner was like, no, you're going to listen to me. And I'm like, no, look, this meeting is over. I don't give a fuck about you or your company. I'm like, I need to get help. And he's like, well, we need to talk about your severance pay. And I'm like, and I slammed down one of my plants. I slammed down my fist and I pushed aside one of my plants, which is actually here in the room. It's named Phil Jr., but it's not named after anyone I know. um, but I was telling him that basically I don't need your shit and I'm not going to stay here and tolerate this. I'm leaving. Forget the stupid severance package. And as I was walking out, people were looking at me like, there goes that bitch. And it was just like I was seen as being a bitch because I was like, I need to take care of me. At this moment, I'm bleeding. I need to take care of me. And I remember ripping out my cell phone and calling 911, saying that to send an ambulance because I needed help at that time. And the as I was walking through the office on the phone, I remember seeing a friend of mine named Andy sitting at the front desk. He was waiting to be interviewed for a position. He had a crown on his head, just like a thin, shining, silverish crown on his head. Somebody I haven't seen in a while or really talked to in a while, so it's kind of like, what have you. And I also remember seeing my girlfriend who just had a baby come walking out of another tower with her daughter, but her daughter was now like 4 years old, up to her hip or something like that. And she was leaving the building. And I decided to say, well, in my pain and frustration, I decided to say, fuck this. You know what? I don't need these people. I don't care about these people. And I called in an airstrike on the building. Um, but at the same time, what I did was before the flashing light, I saw the flashing light of the airstrike coming towards the building. There was a part of me that stopped time, that was able to pause the situation or what was happening, and convinced my friend Andy to leave, got my friend Tiffany to a park bench too, and I got all the children, I don't know why there were children in the building, but got all the children out of the building. And oh, I remember getting Andy to sit on a bench with Orlando, and I sat next to them, and Tiffany was on a different bench. And then just as I unpaused everything and everyone, the bench took off like a roller coaster throughout the city with twists and turns and all over the place. And behind us, we could feel the heat of the explosion of the building that I just exploded in my dream. Um, but what was really interesting about this dream is I could feel the turns. I could feel the swaying in the seat and my neck turning. I could feel it in the dream. The sight of the lights was so real in the dream. Um, and what was interesting is being on this roller coaster, it had no tracks. I had no idea where we were going or when we were going to stop. But eventually, in that process of realizing there were no tracks, that's what woke me up. And I was so dizzy when I woke up. Um, so that was the dream that I had. And of course, I woke up with a really, really bad migraine. Um, but that's the dream that I had. But I've noticed that when I dream about people that I haven't seen in a while, usually some stuff is happening in their lives. Um, so I'm just like checking out, saving this so that I can know what this dream meaning is. Go back and research it for later. Because right now I can't really do too much screen time, and reading and writing hurts a lot. So, yeah, I need to interpret this as to what this dream really means, because I tend to usually, some dreams that are very intense like this, I usually get them 2 days before some event really happens, and it may be minor. It may be a minor event, but there's so much emotion to this and so much realism and moving that I'm wanting to preserve it and figure it out. Um, so, yeah.